Maple is part of the Acer family, which does include sycamore, which we get quite a lot of over here. It's got a common tree over here. This is Canadian maple, that's the one that we tend to stock, although sycamore is available. I find that Canadian maple has more of a paler, creamier colour to it than the sycamore. Sycamore tends to be slightly more yellow, but both very, very similar. They have this sort of raspberry ripple red detailing to them, but it's incredibly beautiful wood. So it's a broadleaf tree, so it is a hardwood. It's super dense, it's super hard. Although it's durable, you wouldn't make windows and doors out of it. You wouldn't use it externally. It just doesn't lend itself to that very well. I think it wouldn't be very cost effective either. As far as workability goes, maple lends itself really well to all sorts of furniture, cabinetry. It works really well, takes screws, takes fixings, takes glue really well, takes a finish really well. Also wood turning, carve it though, it's way too hard to carve, you'd be there forever. Probably need a chainsaw. Although they're not very common, you do get certain species of maple that are highly decorative and very much sought after because of the figuring that they have. You can get rippled maple, incredibly beautiful, looks like it does exactly what it says on the tin. It looks almost like a snakeskin. It's just beautifully figured all the way down. So when you get the rippled maple, it's almost like it's iridescent. It kind of shimmers. It's really weird. It's beautiful. It's just like really weird markings on it that give it that. It does look like the light's catching it differently. It looks almost three-dimensional. You get bird's eye maple, tiny little knots in it. Usually those are reserved for veneers or for fine furniture or for, you can get them for jewellery boxes and things like that nowadays. Maple's light colour can be customised with different stains to achieve quite an even colour. Very little variation within it. So over time this will eventually go yellow, and I think what a lot of people found with their floors and basketball courts is that they did over time go yellow, and then they sanded them back and go, oh, it was originally like this beautiful sort of pale pastel-y colour, and that's what everybody treasures. But over time it ages and goes yellow. I wouldn't use Osmo to finish it because Osmo will yellow it. I would use a clear lacquer, something that Bonner Mega works brilliantly with it. Bonner Mega does. Use something with a slight white pigment so that it maintains that pale colour, that desirable pale colour. Maple's fairly expensive, yeah. It's not. You tend to find that all of the prettier timbers are the expensive ones. This is definitely classed as a prettier timber, so yeah, it is expensive. Because it's quite hard, they used it for sports floors. So you quite often find it in squash courts, basketball courts, sports halls, all that sort of thing. So yeah, really popular for flooring back in around the 90s, I think it was. It was the go-to sort of timber for flooring. So they do use it for musical instruments. You kind of find it on guitars quite a lot, on the neck of the guitar. Usually the tuning stock at the top is made of maple. The neck can be made of maple, and then they usually put a bit of walnut or rosewood or ebony on it with the fretboards. So yeah, really, really good for that. Bowling alleys, another use. Cutting boards and butcher blocks. Quite often beech and maple are used for the butcher's blocks. Again, probably due to its super hardness and its durability. Yeah, it'll be really good for that. Wood turning, making bowls, that sort of thing. Like I said, we used to do quite a bit of maple flooring, but it's kind of not very fashionable now. Maple's one of those timbers that works very well in combination with others. So where you have we saw there was a fabulous wine cabinet made a few years back by one of our customers, and they used a combination of maple and walnut. It was beautiful. It went into a super yacht. It was absolutely stunning. So the combination, using maple as an accent timber with a darker timber, yeah, works really, really well. I suppose the other thing that it we use for is kitchens. Some people still have maple kitchens made. But like I said, I think as a timber, it was very fashionable back in the 90s. I'm not sure that it's so fashionable now. I think the only reason that it's gone slightly out of favour is more due to the fact that as it ages, it goes quite yellow, and I think there's a bit of a kickback at the moment against that yellowing sort of pine, sort of the honey-coloured look. I think that people would much prefer this paler pastel look rather than the honey yellowy kind of look. You can use it alongside birch plywood, one of our more popular products, birch plywood. The two will go really, really well together. They complement each other very, very well. So yeah, that would work quite well. Any other timbers that are, well, we do it in MDF form as well. So we offer a maple veneered MDF, maple veneered plywood, which you could use solid maple edging to that to create your furniture and your cabinetry work. Raspberry ripples.